why I survived and so many of them did not, that is something that I'll deal with day in, day out. You don't expect things in life to happen, and we always think that life is a big positive trajectory, but there's hiccups all along the way, and there's things that change our lives and our positioning and where we are. And I think it's challenging, but we have to learn how to deal with those ups and downs. And especially in these last few years, we've been focusing on the negative. Turn it to the positive and just say, oh, well, I didn't pass that test, but the next time I'm going to study a bit harder, or maybe I'm going to look at a different subject. Maybe the first woman you asked out said no to you. What does that do? It doesn't mean that you're a complete failure. It was a war zone. I yelled at John to run, and I looked to the right and saw a huge fireball coming at us. And then I ran and I got hit on the head, and I woke up 3 days later in the hospital.
Estamos en un nuevo capítulo súper especial, en un formato súper diferente de The Efficient Happiness Show. El invitado que tenemos hoy no está aquí físicamente conmigo, aunque hablamos muy a menudo. Está a 12.000 kilómetros, creo, no lo he calculado, pero por ahí debe andar. Vive en Canadá. Es una persona muy especial. Vais a quedar asombrados con su historia y sobre todo con los aprendizajes que vamos a sacar. Además, vamos a empezar ahora una serie en inglés. Así que es el momento de moverme al inglés. So now I'm going to continue in English. I have here my guest. Well, Ron is actually here. You all know because you already read the title of the video on YouTube. But anyway, I'm here. I'm more than excited. I'm very happy to introduce you, my friends, Ron DiFrancesco. How are you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Very happy to have you here.
Nice to see you.
Before we started, we were talking about all this new stage of this project. What is under the umbrella of the Efficient Happiness, the company I founded, and you joined time ago. And I was really excited with the idea of having you as a guest, from because we are always talking about many things, and your story is a unique story, and I want you to share your experience and your insights of where you live with the people that could hear us. So first of all, I would ask you if you can tell us who's Ron DiFrancesco, why are you here, what's your story behind the man I have in front.
Sure. Thanks, Antonio. And it's great to see you again and chat with you. I think we connected probably 4 years ago or so. So it's a pleasure always seeing you and seeing how you're growing Efficient Happiness and what's happening. So for me, for some of you that may know or may not, I used to be in finance. I was a trader and I was working in the World Trade Center on 9/11. I loved being in New York City. I'm a Canadian originally, but I loved being there. And 9/11, I was on the 84th floor of the World Trade Center, the South Tower, and they say I'm the last man to get out of the World Trade from the South Tower. It was a really challenging experience for me. I barely got out. I was trapped above the impact zone. So I struggled for a very long time to get out of the building, and I didn't fully get out of the building. I woke up 3 days later in the hospital. Took me a long time to recover, and I've had a lot of support, a lot of people, a lot of medical support, professional support, and I've focused my attentions now on making things better for me and for others, and treating people with respect and trying to deliver happiness and talk to people about resiliency and their mental health, and all the challenges that we have in our day-to-day, and how do we make things better personally, professionally as well.
You mentioned something that I think it's great, that you are now giving back something after the experience you lived. Why do you feel you have, of course, besides you survived to this crazy event, we all know and we all remember, why do you feel, or why do you think you feel this sense of giving back?
I think, well, I've always been, and I don't want to say a charitable person, but I've always been giving. I'm always there to support and help. But after 9/11, I saw the good in people, and I struggled for a very long time with personally, physically, mentally, and all the support that I got during those years. Some people helped me, and now I like to turn that. If I can help someone in a small way, in a large way, whether it be personally, professionally, helping their organization, then I feel fulfilled.
It makes you fulfill. So this I think this is very connected with purpose. Do you think that this helped you to discover a new purpose in life?
Sure. So well, I've all I've always been a giving person. My career previous to this was I was a trader, a money broker. I used to trade US dollar and European currency. And it was a very fast pace sort of eat what you kill. Every deal you do, you make more money. And it was energizing, but it was a different field. And after 9/11, and I saw a lot of people. I worked with 350 people in a trading room, and a lot of people were really cutthroat and really hungry and aggressive and stuff. And after 9/11, I would say most of us changed. Sure, people still have their desire and their, want to make more money, but a lot of those people, you saw the compassionate, the empathetic side of all these people. And I ran with that. I love that, and seeing there are good people, right? And there's good in all of us. How we help that bloom is the best thing, I think.
So if I understand properly, you are saying that this experience changed them somehow. What takes me to my next question, where is how has this experience shaped you?
How has it shaped me? Well, I
Yeah.
um I was in a really dark place right after it. I was in our trading room when the first plane hit the first building. And then as I was leaving the trading room, the wing of the plane sliced right through our trading room. Um, I lost 61 colleagues in a matter of minutes. That took a toll on me, and why I survived and so many of them did not, that is something that I'll deal with day in, day out. But if I can help people and tell them that I had some serious struggles, some serious physical disability at the time, and mental challenges, and I really struggled, and I got through that okay. And I still have anxiety and stress about things, but on the whole, I feel like I'm great. Not that I'm great, but I feel that I'm doing very well. And if I can help anybody and tell them, it's about becoming resilient, I think, Antonio. It's just I didn't expect that to happen, and something like that happened. And we will get into your story as well, maybe, but you don't expect things in life to happen. And we always think that life is a big positive trajectory, but there's hiccups all along the way, and there's things that change our lives and our positioning and where we are. And I think it's challenging, but we have to learn how to deal with those ups and downs.
I'd love to hear more about this later because today we're suffering a big mental health issue in
Yeah,
the workplace and within our societies. So let me talk about this later because it's very interesting. But before, I love to know more about what happened that day because I think it's really or very linked to destiny, the concept we've got of destiny.
yeah,
Could you please tell us? Because this is something I listened to you the first time we met 4 years ago, and something we have talked in our private conversations. But I'd like to share a story, this strange thing that happened to you that allowed you to survive, if we could say that.
sure.
And would you link that to destiny? What could you say about this?
Yeah, so I was on the trading floor, like I mentioned, when the first plane hit. And then I was leaving, I was with a colleague of mine, and as we were leaving, the second plane hit and sort of took out our trading room, the wing. We were knocked flying, and debris fell down all around us. And then we got ourselves back up and we met some other colleagues and we started to go into the stairwell. We got into the stairwell and we thought we would be able to go down. But as we started to go down, we met, there were two gentlemen helping a lady get up, start to climb, and they told us we couldn't go down below. There was too much smoke and fire, and so we had to go up. We climbed and climbed for a while, and then we realized we couldn't get out of the building just because all the floors were locked from the inside for security reasons. And at that point, I really started to panic. And so we started, I guess we got about to the 91st floor, and then we started to climb back down. And as we climbed down, the smoke was getting thicker and heavier. And we started to go to sleep. And then someone called me. For those who believe in a higher being, you may know who that is. For others, some may say it was just my adrenaline pushing me. So I went towards the heavy smoke and the fire, and I pushed against it to see what was there, and it revealed the staircase below. So I slid down there and I ran through 3 flights of stairs that were on fire. And then I ran down about halfway down. I ended up running into 3 firefighters that were coming up. And I told them that I was having trouble breathing, and they told me to go down below and I would get help down there. I got down to the base of the building and I came out facing the courtyard, the area in between the two buildings. And it was a war zone. There was debris everywhere and there were bodies and there were people jumping and there was a lot of smoke. So I wanted to get out of there and they wouldn't let us out. So they made us go down into the basement, or made me go down into the basement and then go out towards another exit that was away from the falling debris. As I started to go through there, I met a colleague of mine who was down there, and we started walking. And as we were walking, we heard these loud implosions and the building started to come down. I yelled at John to run, and I looked to the right and saw a huge fireball coming at us. And then I ran and I got hit on the head, and I woke up 3 days later in the hospital. I didn't get out of the building.
I listened to you many times, and this still shocks me. So I'm speechless. I mean, we we had this conversation before, and it is still makes me being speechless. I have no words. You say you said something relevant. What is this thing or person or some people said that could be your adrenaline?
Yeah.
I don't know if the adrenaline can give you the power to see what's behind the smoke and to know what's the proper place to live, the floor you're in. But anyway, after this time, I know that you've been thinking about this specific question, and when you started describing all the event, you said, "Okay, I survived, but many of my colleagues didn't, and I still have to deal with that." So, how do you consider this? That something is talking to you, something is giving to you the right direction to follow. And now you're here and now you are giving to the world. How do you consider this? Is that the destiny? Is that God that wants you here to make something bigger? What do you think?
Yeah, I do struggle with this. Partially, it's just like, a lot of people say God has a purpose for you, and I am a believer, but where I struggle is I got out and a lot of my colleagues didn't. So, why didn't they get out and why did I? And I guess if I can tell my story and relay it to people in the hopes of them in their struggles, then maybe that's what my mission is now. So if I can help people become more resilient, deal with the challenges that they face ahead and move forward, then I think maybe that's my calling, if you want to say that. Um, and, whether it's individuals or like the work you're doing with efficient happiness, if it's stuff we can do for the betterment of people,
Mm.
right? Then
Mm.
I think it's great. If you think about people, if you help somebody, you will help your children after they fall and scrape their knees.
Mm.
That will, that makes you feel better. If you see somebody struggling on the street, an elderly person who needs help getting up,
Mm.
you feel better about something like that.
Mm.
So I'm just saying, using those as little analogies, but if you can help somebody find a job, or if you can help somebody be better at their
Mm.
work, or be better at home, or be better at life, then I think it's
And
great.
and Ron, you're making me thinking about this giving experience because what's curious about giving is that this is good for you. So this is good for the not only for the person who receives whatever, it's even better for the giver because this gives you a sense of fulfillment,
Yes, correct.
a unique sense of fulfillment. So, do you do that? This is something I never ask you. I think, do you do that for you, for yourself, to feel better and to survive and to feel more fulfilled, or slash and for others?
Well, I think it's a bit of both, really. Like, just think of yourself if you were to cook a meal and you slave over the stove, or
Mm.
you work hard and you prepare it and you present this big meal and
Mm.
everybody loves that.
Mm.
How does that make you feel?
I agree, absolutely.
Exactly. So it's about, one, you're providing an amazing service to people through the meal, and you're
Mm.
also getting the accolades because you've done something,
Mm.
right? And everybody loves, it's boosting you up a little bit, it's boosting me. So we all get energy from a positive experience.
Mm. But that's a good thing to learn because sometimes we think that, okay, we are always waiting to be helped by someone from outside. But if we do good things to others, we feel better. So even you don't want to do for others, do that for you. Because while you are helping others, you're doing good for others and and you will feel better, so it's like a win-win relationship. Mm.
Yeah, and when I was coaching someone, one of the people said, "I'd like to give away $1 million. That's my goal, to give away $1 million." And I was like, "That is awesome."
Mm.
They are not making nearly that much money. So I said, "What if you changed that right now? And eventually you will give away $1 million, which will be great. But what if you volunteer at the food bank now?"
Mm.
Right? What if you gave somebody $10 or €10, right, to help them on their journey? That makes you feel better. It's starting the journey. It's not, we always have this grandiose plan that we're going to be up here, work towards it.
Mm. It is exactly. Now I want to start talking about resiliency. So I think resiliency is one of the things
Yes.
you'll learn through your experience. You're my key person on resiliency.
Okay.
And to me, you are the best expert I know on that field. So, what could you tell us about resiliency, the things you've been learning during these years? And I think this is something you've learned through your experience, besides things you could have uh,
Yeah.
read on books or whatever. But I think everything is based on your experience. So, which are the key points? If we can give some tips to people, like the key points for be more resilient and how could we work?
Sure. Yeah. So, a lot of the things about resiliency are we need to acknowledge where we were, and some of the things we just have, not everything is doom and gloom. Like, I think some people will say fail forward or learn from our past experiences. And what you need to do is acknowledge it, and it affects your mental health as well, but understand and identify the problem, the challenge, the historical thing that happened to you, and what are you going to do to um, get out of it. Like, and every one of us has become resilient in our lives. As a child, maybe you didn't make a sports team, maybe you failed a test, maybe you didn't get invited out with people. Those are all hard things at the moment. But maybe you didn't pass the test because it wasn't the right subject for you. Maybe you weren't smart enough for it. And that's okay. Maybe there's something different. Maybe you didn't make a sports team because maybe you weren't that good of an athlete, or maybe you have a different discipline. But I think now society is, we always, and especially in these last few years, we've been focusing on the negative. Turn it to the positive and just say, oh, well, I didn't pass that test, but the next time I'm going to study a bit harder, or maybe I'm going to look at a different subject. Maybe the first woman you asked out said no to you. What does that do? It doesn't mean that you're a complete failure. It means that maybe that wasn't the right person for you. And now that you have a beautiful family, maybe that's probably a better thing. So you learn from that experience.
And okay, this is like the frame. Not everybody has the same capacity to be resilient. So how could I start to work my resiliency?
So, like I was saying, is that look historically at yourself.
Yes, first of all, and then how could
Then you build on that, and how you how you end up working to make yourself better in a challenging situation. And it doesn't have to be immediate, right? You can look historically, like if I was to ask you one of the things you struggled with when you were a child, one of the things you struggled with when you were in high school, one of the things you struggled with in university, they would all be different things. And they may be personal issues, they may be financial issues, they may be, academic issues, they may be athletic issues. I don't know what they are, but acknowledge each one of those things and you got through it. So how did you do it? I could tell you, well, oh, you just have to suck it up and do better. But that's not the right thing. What did you do to get you out of that situation? And we've all done it, from being a little child to
Mm.
your present situation. It's
And
about being resilient in a specific time.
you have to, I think that you have to assume you have to be patient because, in the world we are living today, we want everything now.
It's
And
this
if,
thing, right?
yes,
We are
absolutely.
an instant gratification society. I want
Yes.
something. Oh, if I don't know the answer, I will research it online and find the answer right away. Or you want to do something, you want it right away. Like, you see people and they're frantic trying to do something, and it's just like, it's okay. You will get there eventually. But I just think that, like, as good as our phones are and the internet is, it's horrible for us too, because it creates anxiety for us.
Mm, absolutely. And I always say that things need time to be cooked. I mean, you can put some ingredients to cook and put them
Yeah.
to cook 4 or 5 minutes, then you taste it and it's to nothing. You need time, you need like hours to have a great soup or whatever you want to cook. So this is the same. You cannot expect to be your new best version
Yeah.
after any event in like 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 weeks, whatever
Mhm.
the person needs. So I think this is a great point. Besides, of course, the things you mentioned, and I like to move to another key point that we talked time ago. What is forgiveness? Because now I gotta ask you something that I asked you and that time we recorded with Cafe con Valores, if you remember, we
Yeah.
talked a little bit about forgiveness, and you mentioned something that shocked me. And I'd love to bring that to this new audience. What is, you said something about, okay, you suffered a terrorist attack, okay, 23 years ago.
Yes.
And I remember that you said that somehow you forgave you forgave this situation, like the terrorists because of their background. Could you please tell us more about this?
Sure. Like a lot of people would like me to be angry with the terrorists or hate them or dislike them. I don't dislike anyone. I just believe those people were misguided in their vision and their view. And we see that happening now in our world, in the wars that are happening around, right? The Israel-Palestine issue, the Russia-Ukraine issue. People are misguided in their judgment. So like I don't hate anybody, and I'm sorry that the world ended up like it did, and I believe 9/11 is a big contributing factor to that. But um, they were misguided in their judgment. And after that, right after 9/11, we saw the good in a lot of people. We did see the good in a lot of people. Unfortunately, our world's turned again, and it's not such a nice place to be.
It's like to say this is a no, this is very deep because it's not like these specific people's fault. Of course, of course, directly it is their fault, but it's like they are the consequence of something bigger.
Yeah.
The education they receive, the culture they grow up in, the messages they are receiving from the people they deal with. And this creates like a, how do you say that in English? Una bomba de relojería is like a,
Well, it creates a negative outlook for people, right? And your bread, like hatred breeds hatred. And why does it have to be? And we see it now too in politics all around the world. People are so divided.
mm,
And why is that? I don't really know. And it's just like, if you're conservative or you're, a liberal, what is the difference in
mm.
people? You're all trying to be good people, are you not? Like, why do we want to destroy people? And we see that everywhere in the UK, in Canada, in the US, in Europe, everywhere it's happening. People are so divided in their lives, and it's unfortunate.
With this, I think we are contributing a little bit for creating a better world. Well, the purpose we have, your purpose, my purpose, the shared purpose,
Sure. Yeah.
our shared purpose, what is to make this world a better place from our
Mhm.
positions, little ones, but at least we could do something for our
Yeah.
communities.
Yeah.
Talking about the
Exactly.
community is an important issue. What is the mental health issue? You mentioned that at the beginning, and most people is dealing with these mental health issues right now. And
Yeah.
after your experience, what would you tell these people who's struggling with things like anxiety or depression?
Yeah, and I was depressed for a very long time, and sometimes this time in September, I really do struggle coming into 9/11, but the days will get better. The days and things will improve, and seek the help that you need and do something for you. I think a lot of people with their mental health now too, and I think COVID took a big toll on us with us having to. isolate for a very long time. And some people don't know how to get out of that. And the work from home regime and all of that stuff, it takes a toll on our mental health. But we are social beings. And I think the
Mm,
Europeans do it a lot better than we do, and they socialize a lot more, whether it's out for lunch or cafes and stuff like that. We just run to work when we have to go into the office. But young people now, they need to go, and I don't want to say go to the office, but they do need to
mm,
go to the office to socialize with people.
mm,
That's part of our work is socializing, right? You're
mm,
not there just to work. So if you sat behind a desk at your home 5 days a week for 8 hours a day, you never get the chance to go out for lunch with people. You never get the chance to, right, go to a colleague's office and talk to them about something that you need an answer with. It shouldn't always have to be set up on a Zoom. We enjoy being social, right? You and I getting on a call is always enjoyable.
mm.
It's about being social. So I think that helps you with your mental health is being out and being present in the world. Um, and if you struggle with your mental health, do something that will change it for you, whether it's doing something physical if you like to run or bicycle or dance, whatever, or if you like to read a book or listen to music, do something to take you out of the state that you're in to help you along. Maybe you like to meditate. I don't know what you do, but a lot of people do different things to help them out. A lot of people, I think, find meditation helpful. Maybe people like to go in church and pray. If that is going to help you and give you a positive feeling, then do something like that.
Mm. I was thinking about this situation we're living now. This well, it's actually a discussion about the hybrid work model or the home office model or in person at the office or the place you're gonna be in. And after our researches and our experience in efficient happiness, I firmly conclude that I bet for a hybrid model, but the majority of the days you gotta be socializing in person with people because this personal connection, these personal relations build connections, real connections,
Yes.
not deal connections. So real connections, and this is the only way to build trust in a group of people, and the only way to build, or one of the most important ways to build psychological safety, to be
Yes.
yourself at work or wherever you gotta be. Um, so this is a great point to be, but what if you don't want to socialize because you don't feel as good to do some social life?
Sure. And some people do have anxiety about that, but I think I really honestly believe we are social beings. And if you think about in grade school, the people you hung out with in grade school, you did socialize with some people. In high school, in university, you did. At work, you gravitated to certain people. Certain people will gravitate to other people. And I think you need to enforce them a little bit. And I know some people may be frightened about going into the office and, um, because of what's happened in COVID and stuff like that. But I think we need to get back into it and become more gregarious and out there and enjoy people's things. Like I'm inquisitive. Who are you? What makes you tick? Why do you do that? I think we need more of that. Ask a stranger a question, right? Say hello to somebody on the street. Just
Mm,
watch what happens.
mm,
Call a friend that you haven't talked to in years, right? Just send them a text, see what happens.
mm,
We need to be social again
mm.
because we
The-
were isolated for years.
it seems that we're afraid to do these kind of things. I don't know if you detected that with the young generation, but I'm always asking this the following question: what do you prefer to the younger generation? What do you
Sure.
prefer to send a message or to have a call? And they always say, "No, I'm not calling. I'm not doing a call through a cell phone because just like I'm invading the other person's space." Is like, what the hell are you talking about? And it's it's somehow a way of isolating people. So it's crazy to me. Technology allows us to have this great conversation with
Exactly. Yeah.
like thousands of miles
Miles away. Yes.
between you and me. But in the other side, this is like as isolating us.
Yeah, exactly. We will get together one day soon, mister.
No, that's definitely. Now we are arriving to the end, and I'd like to talk about happiness. This is the Efficient Happiness Show. Of course, I would like to finish, almost finish with this topic. What's happiness for you, Ron?
Happiness. Wow, that is a loaded question, but I think happiness is it's about being content, right? It's just in your present situation. Not every day is great. I know that, but on the whole, I'm lucky. Like I have a wife, I have 4 kids. I'm an abuelo now,
You're an
but
abuelo,
a
yes, you are. No,
grandfather, a
you're a
no-no.
no, yeah.
But yeah, those things all bring me joy and helping people out like you do every day in your work. Finding happiness, I that thrills me. That just gives me energy. So happy days for me being up north, spending time away is great. And trying to reduce some of the stresses that we have. We all have challenges, but trying to reduce some of them, that brings me happiness. It brings me a ton of happiness. I study positive psychology, and then um, what's your emotional state, right? When you're feeling positive emotions, I think it fuels positive emotions. I have a lot of gratitude, I guess.
Happiness. While you were giving this definition, I was thinking of if this concept changed during the years for you. So did you have the same concept of happiness like 20 years ago, or
Mhm.
this change after the 9/11? This is something that has changed during the years.
I think we all grow. I've always had a big social network of people and stuff. And so when I socialize with them and family and everything, I'm content at that point, right? It's about acknowledging where you're at and saying, I'm pretty good in my life. And as I've gotten older, I think things to me are I'm happy where in my lot in life, where I am, what I've done, what I've accomplished. And I think I'm a good person, right? And I'm happy where I'm at.
Final question, Ron. Final
Yes.
question about the legacy. How you like to be remembered?
Yeah, that is a tough question. I just,
It
I
is, I know. Hmm.
what will they write on your tombstone or whatever? But I just I honestly believe I am a good person. I have tried hard, and I've the journey has not been an easy one, but I appreciate a lot of people. I appreciate everyone. And if I can just be remembered for that and providing what I have thus far in life and will continue to provide, I think my job is done. And
That is very beautiful. To me, there is something I thought during these years, or something simple, but not as simple as it seems. What is to be nice to others? So being a good person. It's like my unique obsession.
Yeah.
And besides this, everything that complements that is okay, but being a good person. Ron, we're done. We did that. We did that. Very happy that we finally
That's
did that.
great.
And see you next time. And I have a big surprise to say to the audience that you are joining me in some of the conversations we're having with other guests in the future. So this is a huge
Sure.
surprise. So I'm very honored.
I'm excited about that. And I think,
I'm excited too.
honestly, you have to acknowledge, though, the work that you're doing with Efficient Happiness and how you're delivering that to many organizations and the benefit that they're receiving. And all the people within those organizations are receiving from your work.
Mm.
So bravo to you.
Thank you.
And I look
Thank you,
forward to
Ron,
continuing this
for sure.
conversation.
Yeah, we're continuing that for sure. For sure.
Okay.
My friends, I'm looking to that to the camera. Thanks to all of you to be here. Hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Chicos, espero que hayáis disfrutado muchísimo. Esto va a estar en inglés principalmente. Vamos a intentar traducirlo al español. Estoy seguro que lo vamos a poder hacer. Y see you next time. Bye bye, my friends. And bye bye, Ron.
Bye bye.